Hello world, Keon here. How are y'all doing today? You know that volume is way too low. I mean, the song just got quiet at that point. Hello world, how are you doing? Keon here. For some reason, today my audio equipment decided to fuck up on me. So yeah, you'll be hearing me do these beautiful bitches. Two things you'll notice right off the bat. We have a new lighting setup, which calls for a new, I guess, shutter speed or exposure setting for my camera. So things are probably going to be looking a little bit more filmic than usual, a little bit more high speed, less blurry, but that's all natural. We be trying this to look out because, truth be told, this shit is fucking bright. I don't know if there's I don't think I have any oh, here. All right, here's my earring case, don't judge me. But look how bright that bitch gets. Look at that shit. You see that reflection? And this ain't even like a perfect mirror. This is just like, look at it, look at this shit. It's not that bright, but the light's bright. So there's only so many hours a day my eyes can take this bullshit. Cause I do have it on a white light setting, but it's not exactly warm. And the warm setting is a bit too warm for me, so that's why I don't have it on that. I just turn that bitch off. That's the cool setting. Fucking hate that. And the warm setting is just a little bit too. Also, to keep this in mind too, I have another bedroom light on. Hold on, let me show you. Off. On. Off. Actually, I want to see this. It's kind of dark. So yeah, I have to compensate. But before I get into things, I want to start with a rant of the day, and there's a topic I want to get into. But I also did tell my friends I'd be ready by 8, and it is currently 8, and I'm not ready. So I'm gonna check in with Hanaira and make sure everything is cool with her. Let's tune in. Hanaira, you're on mute.
I am on mute.
Indeed. Do you mind if I give you 5 more minutes to play that game, and then we can hop into whatever you like?
Whatever you like. No, sure. I was killing time with this until people showed up.
Real shit.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, just let me know what you like. Put it in. Well, just have it on your mind, so when I join in, I could just start it up. But
Okay.
I wanted to go into a rant. It might take somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes, but if other people join before the rant finishes, I will leave the rant and join instantaneously. Audience be
All right.
damned.
Audience bedommed. All right. That sounds like a plan.
Cool. Pea suit.
Cool.
All right. So, rant of the day. Full disclosure, I did not give myself time to read this. Today's been a fucking day. So I only saw the headline, and I can only really react to that. I skimmed through the article. So I'm gonna read it out loud. I'm gonna read one article, which you should never do, but I ran out of time today. So this first rant of the day is very spur of the moment. We're not gonna aim for perfection. We're just gonna aim for our best. So let me look for. Let me make sure I have the synopsis of the story correct before I spread misinformation, because Coca-Cola got in trouble. Got in trouble for some diversity training that they allege. Well, someone in there alleges, tells white people to act like white, and on the surface level, that shit seems pretty racist. But let's take a step beneath the surface. Let's skim past the headline. Not skim, let's read past the headline. We got some time. So this is from the New York Post. Let me back the fuck out. I don't know which is a good source. Let's see, hold on. You know what's a good source? Fucking DuckDuckGo. So for those who don't know, DuckDuckGo, well, let's see, it's easier to explain it by saying what it doesn't do. So what Google does, and Facebook to an extent, what they do is when you browse the internet, they keep track of where you go, both Google and Facebook. Facebook, they track you somehow. I think Facebook finds its way onto the websites that you're going to, and the websites are just like, yeah, sure, I'll let you know when so-and-so visits. So Facebook has a big-ass database of basically everyone's internet traffic. So that's how, it seems like, you know, you could talk about some shit, and the next thing you know, said shit is appearing in your shopping cart or in your news feed. Be like, yeah, man, I've been looking for some flip flop for men, and then next thing you know, you get like ads for flip flops for men. It's because you use the search engine that follows it. And if you even, here's how deep it goes. Even if you don't use a search engine, if you have the Google keyboard on your phone, Android or iOS, because you can't install it as an app, it'll keep track of that too. There are ways to set it on private. For starters, I have Firefox Focus on my phone, which disables trackers. But all this to say is, if you're looking for something that's political and you want to try to get as little bias out of it as you can, because Google basically creates its own, yo, what up, Potty Deluxe? Am I saying that right? Problem is you don't. But yeah, you don't want to be stuck in your own echo chamber, because that just stunts your growth. So what we're going to do is we're going to look up the Coca-Cola white sensitivity training on DuckDuckGo in the efforts to avoid websites that I probably frequent too much. Could you react to German music? Du what? Du hast. I don't know German music, and I don't know what I'm allowed to play on Pretzel either. Like I can't pinpoint songs on Pretzel, and Pretzel is pretty much the only music I can play on my stream without my shit being taken down. So unfortunately, I can't react to it intentionally. Like, it has to be coming along in a playlist that I'm listening to, and then someone has to point out to me that, hey, this song is German, can you react to it? And I'll be like, oh yeah, sure, I can look that shit up on YouTube, because as long as the song is safe to play on Twitch, I can play it as many times as I want. At least that's how I understand it. But yeah, so looking up this thing, yeah, the top comment is always seems to be New York Post, but I don't trust them. I feel like I don't know, they just seem sketchy. Maybe I'm biased. And so I'm gonna say some other shit, and everybody's gonna start snickering even more. Newsweek. Accused of reverse racism over diversity. Reverse racism, I'm not gonna get into that because I want to get through this in a reasonable amount of time. Fucking doodle day. Free trial. Here's what we gon' do. Alright, so we're not going to get that free trial. What we're going to do is use whatever browser I'm currently using to switch this shit to read mode so I can look at it very clearly and just focus on the words. As soon as this bitch loads up. But yeah, so like right on the surface, it already sounds like telling your employees to be less white makes it seem like their whiteness is the issue. Like, usually if you have like a problem, like in your sentence, if your sentence is explicitly saying there is a problem, whatever adjectives you surround that shit with seems to hint toward the problem. So like, let's say, man, your breath smells bad. Problem, right? It must be from eating all that garlic food, right? The adjective being, I don't even know how to sentence it right, but like the thing that you described the problem with, the problem isn't the food, the problem you make it seem like it's the garlic. So like if you put an adjective, you know, near a problem, the adjective essentially describes the problem. This is barely appropriate. I mean, this is barely, yeah, this is not readable. Alright, so I just guess I could just read it here once. But let's go through this really quickly. According to Newsweek.com, and I will be posting this link in the chat right now, so no one can say I'm talking up my ass. No. After a whistleblower complained that Coca-Cola was asking its employees to engage in diversity training offered by LinkedIn Learning that encouraged them to try to be less white, the social media firm has removed the program. So, after implied that Coca-Cola... Okay, so there was a social program set up. Encouraged its employees, yeah, by Coca-Cola, and then on LinkedIn, and then LinkedIn's like, nah, we ain't gonna have that. understandable. LinkedIn just don't want the shit. They don't want to deal with the bullshit. It's not their bullshit to deal with. So just like, you can, we're just going to ignore that, thank you. The Confronting Racism course featuring Robin DiAngelo is no longer available on our course library. At the request of a third-party content provider we licensed this content from. LinkedIn Vice President of Corporate Communications Nicole Leverage told Newsweek in an email on Monday. So basically they said, yeah, we had third-party content, you know, probably Coke, and Coke's like, hey man, cut that shit please. We provide a wide variety of learning content, selling more than 270 courses on the topics of diversity, inclusion, and belonging, Leverage said. We will continue to add new courses to help learn the skills they need to be more successful in their career, including the foundational skills. We all need to be effective allies and help build a more equitable future. But that's when shit gets like very, like it gets very fancy and flowery, like, because that could mean anything. Like, we need to be effective allies. Like, it's a very nice sounding term. I like the way it sounds, but it's like, what do you mean? What do those actions entail? Like, I would like to know more. And same with equitable future. It seems to be a lot of disagreement on both the word and the way you enact equitability, or equity. I don't even know how to say the ability of that, but you gotta just find this shit. It helps. Just like stated actions that would lead to it. Cause I'm confuzzled. I want to be generous and be like, hey, you're just gonna be like, you know, if you got friends that are talking about an Italian person in a very negative way, and you know there's no Italians around to defend an Italian, you'd be like, hey man, don't talk about the Italians that way. It ain't cool. You don't understand what they've been through. And you know, I can see that getting a little bit. Hold on. I can see why you would think that's helpful. I don't think it's, you know, a waste of time. But imagine if like you're saying that to a group of people and you thought there were no Italians in the room, and it turns out it was all Italians making fun of themselves the whole times. Like, what would that feel like? Like, I would love to know how that feels like in someone's shoes. But honestly, yeah, being an effective ally, I get it, but just know your limits. Don't white knight. Coca-Cola has been criticized on social media since Friday when, oh my god, this article is actually quite thick. I think we're going to cut it here because I just want to play video games, to be honest with you. Yeah, this was a good attempt. Yeah. But yeah, so we're going to join Haneda. But yeah, guys, don't fight racism with racism. Because I think, let me skip forward to the spicy part. Hold on. Because the hurtful phrase is the whole "be less white" part, but I want to see, more context for it. Huh? Seems like it. Okay, so 2 paragraphs I see is the real story is that Coca-Cola is one of probably thousands of companies that have their employees do these courses. Borisenko told Newsweek. Who's Borisenko? I'm so sorry. Carolyn Borisenko, who is an organizational psychologist and YouTube commentator. Okay, so she said that, why did LinkedIn produce content asking people to be less white? Why are they still hosting this? Coca-Cola is a drop in the bucket. Now removed, Confronting Racism course included a slide that inducted students to be less white, less arrogant, less certain, less ignorant, and more humble. So like, again, that first adjective, I don't know. So now you're saying, okay, the problem is white, right? And then now you have all these adjectives that describe what the fuck, how white. They're like an arrogant and white. They're like certain and white. Like, it's always gonna be an and with that. So it just seems a bit fucked up, you know? Like, there's no reason to word shit like that. Like, if I'm being generous, I could kind of grasp at straws and figure out what they mean. Like, I don't know. I think they're just being, like, hey, just be more empathic. Like that's really all they had to say. Like if you're confronting someone and you feel like they're a bit, you know, not like you, try to be like them. Like just figure out, you know, where they came from, get to know them on a person-to-person level. But I'm not saying you gotta do it. Everybody just like look at them that way. You ain't gotta treat them how. It'd be nice if you did, because that would show that you are empathic rather than just like telling people, yo, I get your feelings. Unless of course you can explain the feelings, which is always helpful. But yes. Don't be a dick. That is the moral of the story. And this should be every day. Ain't no need in being a schlong. Alright. Hello, madam.
You hath returned. Okay. So I figured